Are you in?
Fuck yeah, I'm in, baby.
Who the hell you think you are?
I'm the new Lisbeth Salander, baby.
You're not pale enough.
Dude, I'm pretty fucking pale, okay?
Yeah, I could just see you getting a dragon tattoo put on you. You can't even handle getting a needle for a shot. How the hell are you gonna get a tattoo?
You fucking asshole.
At least I got the muscle.
This is right. He is the muscle, guys. I'm more of the computer whiz. You're more of the muscle guy.
Then again, you are kind of a liability.
You know what? We're gonna save the action.
I'll wait till the job's done before I have to.
Yeah, we'll wait till the
complete it.
job's done. Don't kill me yet. Welcome everybody to a brand new movie review where we talk about The Girl in the Spider's Web. And
It's been 7 years since the last movie.
7 years since the last film, which was a remake of
The
original Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
I forget what year that one came out. I think that was like 2003.
I think it was 2000. I could have sworn it was like
It was a long
2008.
time ago because the actor who played the original how do you say his name?
Michael Nyqvist.
He passed away last year.
He did, and which was a real shame. It was just a real shame of what happened with him, and you know the thing about it, at least for me personally, is that I didn't really like the Fincher movie. I didn't really like it, man.
The last one, you mean?
Yeah, I didn't really like the reboot, man. I'm not saying that it was terrible.
I could say I liked that one better than this one.
Yeah, see, the thing about it is, like, the problem with watching this movie, and I mean, we'll get right into it, is this a sequel to that film? Is it a sequel to the Millennium Trilogy with
I mean, there's
with
one
Louis
thing
Rapace?
that the current version of these characters, he's like, oh, I haven't seen you in 3 years. I'm like, in my opinion, it's kind of gotta be, or at least a continuation.
Maybe. I mean, it to me, like I said, I'm a fan of the Millennium Trilogy with Noomi Rapace. I think she did a great job as Lisbeth Salander. And again, I didn't really love that one that Fincher did, but I thought that Rooney Mara did a good job as Lisbeth.
Yeah, because I think they both portrayed the character as sort of a loner, kind of antisocial, kind of not completely stable.
Well, they did it in different ways.
Yeah.
Which is what I liked, and I thought it was pretty unique for what they did.
I will say this compared to the original version of that and you said the Fincher version.
Yeah, the Fincher version.
There's the scene where she gets sexually violated. I'm not gonna say raped because some people might be offended by that word. I will say the actor who played in the original version, the guy who sexually assaults her, he was a lot creepier than the Fincher version.
Yes, he was. I will say that much. Yes, but the problem here, and I mean we'll get right into it, is the fact of, like, again, basically, Lisbeth Salander, she is doing her thing. She's on the computer. She's
doing the vigilante.
She's doing the vigilante justice stuff. And basically somebody ends up messaging her saying, hey, look,
we got a job for you.
We got a job, there's another client, and do you want to do this? And of course she has to hack into the security agency in order to get this
NSA, no doubt.
NSA called Firefall. And from there, it's like everybody wants this thing. People are attacking her.
Let's just say the level of how much this thing is can change the world, literally.
Yes, it can change the world. It can change, literally. You can go and literally attack countries in like a snap of your finger.
Basically, have all the power of the military ordinance of the world behind you.
Yes, absolutely. And
I think for me, for a storyline for this entire thing, that and how it connects to her past, it felt bland.
It did, and I don't know about you, man, but I was sitting there, and at a certain point, I was watching the movie, and I was starting to like check my phone, man, about like
I kept my eyes well enough to watch it. It didn't feel like it had the same intensity as the two previous versions.
It didn't, and I don't know, man, because like, can you blame the cast here, or is it not the cast? Because the cast I thought was pretty good for what they had.
No, I mean, I thought Claire Foy, who plays the current version of Miss Solander, I mean, I felt that she had the look down, at least for the character, what she's supposed to look like. I just, in terms of like emotion of how she portrays the character, I just felt like it was all monotone throughout the entire movie.
My problem that I had with it was that, number one, I don't think she had the look down as good as Noomi Rapace or Rooney Mara. Like, they really like went full tilt into that. I don't think she really did. I mean, I thought she's a good actress. I've seen her
She looked like a punk rocker in this movie, basically.
She looked like a wannabe punk rocker instead of being Lisbeth Salander. She's got the acting down. Look, I like her as an actress. Nick and I saw her on Sane and First Man, and she's a good actress. But I felt like this was a project that maybe was like, the problem is like she's doing a third version of Lisbeth Salander, and whether you consider this a sequel to the Fincher film or not, like, she's got big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
And I don't know if she can actually like pull it off exactly.
Well, that and like the relationship between her and the Michael character, it's just I didn't feel the same connection they had in the two previous versions.
I didn't, and that's another problem, because for me, I don't know about you, where I see this new chick that's playing Lisbeth, I see this new guy that's playing Mikhail Blomkvist, and I'm thinking, am I supposed to connect with these people right off the bat? Because I'm not really connecting with them.
And you don't even feel like he had that much to do with it. I mean, compared to the previous versions, he had almost nothing to do with this film.
No, like, you could have not even had him in the movie, and it wouldn't have affected anything.
I know.
Pretty much.
I mean, half the time he's just looking at a computer screen and like, oh, this dot connects to that dot.
He's like...
I mean, I thought, hell, there's a kid in this movie who actually did more than he did in this film.
Yeah, I mean, the kid did more, but
I think the main problem for me in this film, other than I said the plot, is the main villain in this. It felt such like an underused thing in this movie.
Okay, let me ask you this. So if this is, let's take this from two different angles. If it's supposed to be a sequel to the Fincher film, right?
Yeah.
The problem with that is that they never...
There's a lot of stuff that never got mentioned.
They never once mentioned the chick at all. They never once mentioned her as being related to Lisbeth or anything like that. There was no mention of it whatsoever.
That or like the half brother, remember in the previous versions, they had the half brother.
Yes.
The silent mute killing machine.
Yes.
Like the giant blonde ass Terminator.
Like, they never mentioned her in that version. So suddenly now she knows that she has a sister, but she never told anybody. Or we can take it from the advantage of this is the fourth film in the Millennium Trilogy from Noomi Rapace. But even in that one, she never mentioned anything about a sister in that either. So,
or that about, I forget what they said about, didn't she like burn her father alive in that one?
Yeah.
I'm like...
And even in the Fincher version, they did hint at the burning of the father. I believe they did hint at that. So what's, again, like...
In a lot of ways you can consider this...
Is this a reboot?
Well, if you cut all the other stuff away from the previous version, yeah, you could say this is a reboot.
I mean, again, it's
pretty much a cut and paste movie compared to the previous version.
It is, and the like you said, the villain in this, she is dry as shit. She is, the
only thing I could say about her family, Elizabeth's family,
yeah,
there's some pale motherfuckers. And you could understand. I mean, the only thing they get pointed out in this movie, if they don't connect it to the previous version, is like now you could sort of understand why she goes to protect women from men. That's about it.
Yes, but then again,
it's
like
kind of bland.
It's bland, and
I was expecting her father to come back and.
Yes, I was expecting that. I was like, wouldn't that be cool? Or you know what? I also thought that big guy who was attacking her.
I thought that was like her half brother or something.
That's what I thought. I thought, oh man, they're kind of filling in the half brother thing, and that didn't happen either.
There was some shit in this movie I call bullshit on.
Like
the
what?
Beginning scene, like where you see in the trailer, you see her like standing in,
and then she's gonna.
And then she falls back. Like, she must have dropped at least 3 stories.
I'll say 3, maybe more.
I can understand you're out in the winter time and it's snowing and everything, but even still, that kind of impact would have had broken bones at least.
She would have been like limping, and she didn't limp.
She's out in the middle of nowhere and walking in the snow. How did she not get like frostbite?
Or there's that whole scene with the motorcycle on the ice. Which
I don't know how. There's no way she could have been going fast enough to make it on the ice. That and she like hits before she even goes on the ice. She like slams right into a cop car.
Yes.
How does that not affect her and the bike? How does she not have like a broken arm or something?
I don't know, or a broken leg or something. Like I don't know. I mean, there's weird consistencies here. There's even one scene where she gets out of this sort of like condom looking thing. I don't know, like
an American Horror Story version.
American Horror Story condom thing. They should sell that as Halloween costume, because I would certainly like, grab one. But.
You could barely put on that Slender Man costume for our previous review without sweating it out. If you had one of those leather things on, you would be sweating. You'd be like gasping for air.
But
here's another thing I gotta kind of call bullshit. Yeah. There's a later scene where she gets injected with some kind of, I don't know if it was like a poison or whatever, or something.
It's some sort of like it's
tranquilizer.
She's debilitating. She can't move or something like that.
She crushes up this guy's pills and snorts them.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm like supercharged now. My heart's going. I'm like. You don't even know what those pills did for him.
Exactly. You don't like. She just did random pills, and you don't. I mean, again, there's certain things in this movie that are just like. You know what this movie felt like to me? It felt like almost like Jason Bourne light in a lot of ways. I mean, really.
She could do the spy shit, no doubt. She have 007 to run for his money.
Sure, but again, like she's.
Here's another character I can point out was kind of almost to the point of pointlessness.
Sure.
Was the NSA agent that comes to find her.
Oh, yeah, man. When that whole thing started and he sort of goes off to find Lisbeth, I was sitting there like, do I really care about what this guy is doing? What?
Every time he tries to find her, he's like 3 steps behind.
Yes, he's like, he's like, he has a phone, and he's like messaging, and he's like,
where are you? Can I meet up with you?
Can I meet up with you? And she's like, yeah, if I, and he tracks it to another location, and then he's like thinking, oh man, she was right in my grasp before, and the whole phone thing, and she manipulated me, and it's like, dude, you're not that smart, apparently.
Well, then here's another part that kills me. He bonds with one of her. I won't say friends, but fellow hacker.
It's a fellow hacker, yeah.
It's like, oh, you used to be a hacker? You were a hacker back in the day? I'm like, he's like all bonding with that guy. And I'm like, this guy is an NSA agent. You're lucky he doesn't get you arrested or something.
I know. It's like, it's really weird. And then, also I just want to point out something also is that characters come and go here without any fucking way.
They like disappeared, reappeared.
Like in the third act, if you're try keeping track of characters in the third act, good luck, because it's a clusterfuck, man. It's an absolute clusterfuck, and things don't make a lot of sense plot wise, and characters are just going all over the place, and again we have a villain that's so bland and ineffectual that I can't
She would be a weakest Bond villain ever.
I can't even, like, it doesn't make any sense to me. I guess what I'm saying is that, like, even though I didn't really like that Fincher movie, this one pales in comparison.
This one gets blown out of the water compared to that one.
Yeah, I mean, my God, man, and look, this was high on our radar. Like this was. I mean,
we were looking forward to another Millennium movie.
We were, because we're fans of the. At the end of the day,
I mean, he got me hooked in the original one.
Yeah, because hey man, here's the girl with the dragon tattoo, and you're like, well,
I mean,
what's
there's
this?
not a lot of. I guess you can call this a miniseries in a way.
Yeah,
it's like there's not a ton of miniseries nowadays that really get me hooked into it.
No, and like I said, like that Millennium trilogy is really cool. If this, you know what I would have loved to have seen if he was still alive? I would have loved to have seen Michael Nyqvist and Noomi Rapace come back for another one and sort of spin this into that.
Yeah.
I thought that would have been really cool. You know, look, Daniel Craig was never coming back.
No.
Unfortunately, Rooney Mara just wasn't very interested in coming back either. And
what do you expect?
I mean,
once you go nude for a movie, pretty much almost kills your career.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, and this movie is directed by Fede Alvarez. Now, Fede Alvarez directed the Evil Dead remake. And
enough said right there.
Hey man, I don't care about the Evil Dead remake, but...
Well, don't forget, and the post-credit scene. Groovy.
Really?
He must have needed a couple extra bucks at the end of that one.
Yeah, he did that, and he also did that one with the people who end up going into the blind guy's house and trying to steal the money.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. That one with Jane Levy and
yes, and
that dude from Avatar.
Yep.
It's like Don't Breathe or something.
Yeah, Don't Breathe. That's a really cool movie, and I do like Don't Breathe.
I never got a chance to see it, but if it ever comes on Netflix, I will.
It's a great movie. It's really cool, and he's a good director, and he gets a lot out of the movie.
I actually could have seen him playing her father in this one, the one that played the main bad guy from Avatar.
Oh, I could, yeah. Okay. I mean that was. However, it's such a small role. I don't think he would have ever done it, but.
Yeah, I thought this movie could have... it would have been more interesting if the father was still alive in this movie.
If the father was still alive, if there was more connections. Like I said, I do really like the movie The Girl Who Played with Fire and The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest. I do think those are good movies, and I do like where they went with the half-brother and the father stuff. And I feel like this movie didn't have to be an exact copy of those movies, but
it had some elements.
They could have put some really cool, interesting elements like those movies, and I think it would have worked. And to me, man, again, it's just, it was...
You can't knock the actors, you gotta knock the story.
You gotta knock the story, you gotta knock the fact that they're taking this out of a book series that the original writer of the book series, the original writer is gone. He's done. Yeah. So this was written.
You said there was how many parts they wanted to do?
They originally for the whole Dragon Tattoo series they wanted to do 10 books, and they never got around to doing it because the original writer ended up dying. So they never. Another writer took it on. But again, if this is the kind of stories that we get from those books now, I would pass.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Out of, I can only say for the original series, which one was your favorite chapter?
Out of the first 3?
Yeah.
You know what, man? To me, I'm gonna say it's gonna be The Girl Who Played with Fire. It's gonna be that because even though I love Dragon Tattoo, that original one, what I love about the Girl Who Played with Fire is that it's a little bit more in depth with the actual character of Lisbeth, which is what I like.
It's pretty much an all-risk type thing near the end.
Yeah. So for me, man,
you think the Hornet's Nest was the kind of the slow burn one?
The slow burn one, but again, I still like.
Effective.
It's still effective, and I liked it a lot. So
I'd still say I was still better in this. I mean, I will give props for the actors for trying in this movie.
I will. I'll give props to that.
I mean, I could say the only useless character that they had throughout this entire movie was probably the Stockholm NSA director, deputy director. It's like she had very little to almost nothing to do in this movie.
I know she was terrible, and there were some characters that were like that, guys. It's just that kind of movie.
I mean, it's if I had to say anything, this is probably a movie that's worth a watch, maybe on Netflix if you're bored.
If you're bored, it's on. Watch it on Netflix, guys. And here's another thing that really I want to talk about for a second before we get to the grade rating, is some of the really stupid decisions that some of the characters do. Like, there's one that really got to me in a big bad way.
Which one was it?
The kid, when he got the cell phone call from his father.
I'm surprised she wouldn't have checked him for a phone, at least something that wouldn't connect him. Unless she planned that shit ahead.
Not only that, dude, you're taking the phone call from your father. Again, I won't spoil it, but I'm like, come on,
and again,
dude.
I think the kid might have been like a little bit autistic or something.
Maybe, but I still was like, oh, stupid. I was like, it was that's a moment where, like, I sit there in the theater and I'm like, dude, you've lost me. You've lost me when you do stupid stuff like that, because I downright just groan as shit. And you were talking about another thing too that really
if this does connect to the previous version, the previous movie.
Yeah.
Or at least the last reincarnation of this movie.
Sure.
She has billions of dollars by the end of that movie, or at least multi-millions.
The Fincher one.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm like, how does she afford all this shit? Because she's got like a secret base or a secret hideout in this movie. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, did she had a plan to ever go there in case of emergency, or?
A secret house, secret place. She has like booby traps up the ass.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
computer tech like crazy.
Computer tech like fucking craziness. I mean, and apparently everybody knows. Well, everybody knows about Lisbeth Salander now.
Well, yeah, that's another plot point. That's like she's like framed for murder and all this. I'm like. It's like nobody's gonna clear her or say, oh, she didn't do it. It was this other group of people.
No, nobody does that. Not at all.
If they ever decide to do a sequel to this, I'm like, how the hell are they gonna explain that for if they don't have no evidence?
I don't. Man, this movie has all kinds of problems to it, and I mean I like the fact that they went out of their way to try to make another one of these, but. Better left.
I think it was not enough effort, or they just didn't have the same dedication as the previous versions.
I know. I mean, what's your final thoughts and grade rating on the girl in the spider's web, sir?
Well, that, and I could say, I mean, I will give this. She had some. I won't say the complete look, but some of the look down.
She had some of the look down. I'll give her some of it. Like you sort of saw in her ear, she had like the piercings, and she had a little bit here. But
I mean, even the hairdo got to a point where it was almost like the other versions, at least a tiny bit.
It was sort of like the generic version.
So you're saying the other ones were like the name brand, and she was the generic version?
She was the generic version. Like she she was like going to like like if you go to like a like really brand name store and then you go to Aldi's. And Aldi's, you gotta get
or though that's like saying going to a Wegmans then going to a Family Dollar.
Yeah, you might get the generic stuff. It might not be as good.
I mean, no, and here's the next one. It's like in terms of personality compared to the previous one, I was like, yeah, the other one showed a tiny bit of emotion, but they're also, they were kind of a sexual type being. This one, she was like almost like a nun.
She was like, I mean, there's moments where she's like in a club. and she's sort of like dancing around. Well, she's not actually dancing.
She's walking through a crowd just to find somewhere to smoke.
Like in the previous version, the Fincher version, if I'm not mistaken,
then she was like hunting to get laid. I mean,
she was like, she goes into the club. She's there. Some girl comes over, and they
kind of flirt tiny bit, and
they start going.
Is that how you are in the club? You can't find nobody, you just put your arms around you and go like,
dude, I rage in the club, bro. I rage.
This is not the next Step Up movie. I hope not.
I hope not. Oh, God.
But no, I mean, compared to the previous version, this one was like the bridge. I mean, you see her with somebody in this movie, but it was like, she's like, we had our thing, go.
It's like post-coital, like...
I wouldn't even said that. I mean, it doesn't even look like they did anything. They look like they just sat in bed all night.
It looked like they kind of snuggled, but they did like, instead of like snuggling, they did like butt snuggles, and so, so it was like that, and they were just like, this is really awkward, and I'm leaving. So yeah, that kind of it just was weird, man. What did I tell you?
I mean, the only other thing I could say, well, I pretty much covered the
we pretty much
$1
covered
billion thing. I mean, the only other thing I could say is like the previous versions of the two main characters, just like they were bland.
Yeah, it was. This movie felt bland. I mean,
it felt like a Tom Cruise movie to me. It's just like it just felt like you stand there and you just stare off in the distance and you go to the next scene.
It just like, it felt like everyone was, the best way about it, everyone was going through the motions, and nobody was really, it felt like, the one person that I felt was kind of giving it a little bit was Claire Foy, but at the same time, Claire Foy wasn't going as far into the character as the other actresses did.
Then, the only thing that really kind of took me off was like, I felt like she was talking in monotone the whole time.
Yes. It felt like a lot of characters were doing that.
I'm like, is she like a cyborg or something? I'm like, need to go to bed now. Here, I'm gonna kill you. I'm like, put some emotion to it, even a tiny bit.
Would you like to fuck? Like that. Probably
doesn't even have to say to it. She probably only has to look at the person and be like, okay, we're gonna do this. Can I get a cup of coffee in the morning? And she'd be like,
you would.
Don't forget to take care of my lizard.
Would you like Dunkin' or? I mean,
if I go for Dunkin', I don't want to get a thing of water dumped on me.
Don't put too much.
Too much cream into your coffee.
Cream and sugar. Like she's just it's monotone, man. It's monotone. It didn't work for me, man. I mean,
and I thought like one character was gonna play more of a role in it, and it's just like the person gets killed off. I'm like.
It really, like, dude, it really disappointed me in a big bad way. I mean, what is your grade rating for the movie?
It's not gonna be good. I mean, at least I thought the previous version was like C+B material.
Yeah.
This one, it was so bland.
It was bland as shit.
I was kind of excited when I saw like, oh, they're making another one. I'm like,
yeah.
I got my expectations up too high.
Yeah, that's the problem, brother. That's what happens, man.
When you think about it, if you count all the movies together and not just separately to their own versions, this is like the 7th movie of it. Or no, not
no. This is the 5th.
5th. I'm like, if this is where they're going for 5th, I hate to see where they're going with a 6th.
I don't even think they're gonna get to a 6th right now. If they do, they're not gonna get there.
It took 7 years to make the previous version.
Yeah. So no.
I'd have to give this one. I mean, they did give a little bit of effort. That's probably the only thing keeping this from being a total F.
Yeah.
I'll give this high D+. That's the highest I can go.
You can go, dude. Look, for me, I'm not gonna lie, man. I thought this was going to be really cool because I'm not a big fan of that Fincher version, but at the same time, I was like, this could be interesting it didn't go there, man. It wasn't as interesting as it could be. I thought the trailer sold it well, but once you got into the theater to watch it,
how many times have we been fooled by trailers?
Well, then count this one as another, and it just really got to me in a big bad way of how just absolutely just mind-numbingly boring the movie was. And so for me, man, I'm gonna probably give it a low D plus. So we're pretty much on the same page, man. Other than maybe a couple of bright spots in the movie, like again, I thought some of the action was a little bit cool at times, and I could see that Claire Foy was giving somewhat of a performance which was trying. Other than that, man, I can't really.
You know what I think also affected this movie was the rating. I think this movie was rated PG-13.
It might have been rated PG-13.
If it was rated R, it probably would have gotten a little bit better stuff.
Yeah, we probably would have, but unfortunately not, man. But you know,
you've never smoked a day in your life.
I have smoked a day in my life.
You're a liar.
I gotta end up being the righter of wrongs.
Might as well write a newspaper article. That's more than this version guy did.
Fuck yeah.
Well, it took him 3 years to make one article.
So, where do you want to hack into, sir?
Oh, she already hacked into the NSA.
She did.
Let's hack into something more dangerous. Donald Trump's financial records.
Ooh, oh, we coming after you, Donald.
No, he is. I got nothing to do with this. Trust me, he's got probably more of an army than you see in the entire world.
I'm the new Lisbeth Salander, baby. I can do anything.
When you make it past the first firewall.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed the movie review. If you did, definitely give it a thumbs up. And me and the big man over here, we will be back for another movie review. I thought you were the muscle, man. You're not really very convincing as the muscle.
I'll make you eat that cigarette.
Oh. All right, guys.
I need a breath mint.
Take care, everybody.